It has been a long time since I've made a video, like a really, really long time. And a lot has happened since then, including me both getting a job and quitting that job, which is what I want to talk about in today's video. So I want to start off this video by circling back to September 2021. As many of you know, throughout most of last year, I was helping start a business where we were real estate agents that were representing various hedge funds and helping them acquire properties. Ultimately, that business did come to an end though around August of last year. Once we closed down, I did start working as an underwriter, doing a very similar job, but the job itself wasn't paying that great. Now, that being said, it was at least some form of income, which is something I hadn't seen in a while because I committed a lot of time and effort towards starting a business. By a stroke of luck, though, the guy that I was working for as an underwriter was also in the process of starting a tech startup business where it was a very similar concept of acquiring properties for funds, but it was taking a tech-based approach to help simplify this and really just make the process of underwriting, analyzing, sending to clients, and purchasing properties much more efficient. And I was actually asked to be a real estate agent for them instead of just an analyst to help with the process of acquiring these properties. Now, I was brought on as a 1099 employee, so I didn't receive any benefits or anything, but truthfully, it wasn't a bad gig once things started getting rolling for me, and again, it just felt good to have a consistent source of income because that was still something that I wasn't fully used to. That being said, though, I still felt like I was kind of getting the short end of the stick because there were a few other agents that were already on this team that were being paid as salaried employees, meaning that they were able to receive benefits as well. Now, me being me, I would almost always say, salary schmallery, I don't really need it. I feel confident enough in the work that I am able to do to generate potentially enough money to where I would earn more than somebody on a salary. But a few things did happen to me between December and January that kind of changed that mindset for me. First off, on December 23rd, I actually got engaged to my now amazing fiance that I've been with for like 8 years, so that was a really exciting life change for me. Shortly after that, though, to start off 2022, I got that disease that I don't really know if we could talk about yet, but that, sickness that's been going around and all that fun stuff. I'm sure you kind of are picking up what I'm saying there. So that put me out for a while. And then 2 weeks after I recovered from that, I chipped one of my wisdom teeth and ultimately ended up having to get all 4 of my wisdom teeth pulled. With all of these events happening to me in such a short time frame, I started to think that maybe a salary with insurance might not be a bad option for me, or at least for now. So I did start searching around for other jobs, either one where I would have a full-time salary plus benefits, or to get into something that didn't really involve me being exactly a real estate agent, but still closely related to the real estate world because I do still enjoy real estate. Now, I was able to find a few jobs and fortunately was able to receive a few job offers, and I ultimately settled on a job as a business broker. Basically, what a business broker does is you help small businesses when it comes to selling your business, or if you are not really good with your finances and need to understand how you would value your company to sell it, or just look at cash flow management, I would be able to come through the business and say, here's your areas of opportunity to improve cash flow, or if you were to decide to sell this business, here's how much I think it would sell in this current market versus a future market value. And this honestly sounded like a dream job for me because I really enjoy just talking about businesses in general. As many of you know, I really enjoy talking about finance, and I still really enjoy learning about different industries, services, or skill sets that people have when they start these businesses. And also, this was still involved kind of with real estate because if you own a building, then you would also need help with selling that building. So instead of being residential, it was more of a commercial real estate approach. On top of all that, this did seem like an opportunity where I was actually able to provide some value and help people. So I started meeting with their team leader, and we would just have some pretty simple discussions as to, what this job looks like, the expectations they would have for me when I would leave my current job, all of that fun stuff. And everything was going really well. So time finally came where I quit my job. I quit my job on a Thursday, and later that night I received an email from the person from HR just asking if I would be interested in doing an exit interview that next Friday morning. And of course I agreed to do that. If you ever quit your job and you are asked to do an exit interview, I strongly encourage that you do so. This is not going to be an opportunity for you to start bashing on the company, bad-mouthing everybody, or anything along those lines. but instead it's a great way to express any concerns that you had with the position or ultimately why you are leaving this company. Now, if you really have nothing good to say, or if you think you're just going to be a little aggressive with this, then just don't do the exit interview. But by doing so, you give the company the ability to learn what they are doing, and maybe you can help somebody else have a better experience in the future by just providing feedback on, again, some of the concerns or things that you just felt was missing from that position. Anyway, that Friday morning comes, I met with HR and I just explained to them why I was leaving the company, and we parted ways. Later that night, Friday night, I was just kind of hanging out and I received an email from HR. And the email was actually an offer for me to have a full-time position within this company. But it wasn't just an email that was a full-time position at this company. It was also an email that addressed some of the concerns I had and was actually able to answer some of those concerns. You know, if I had a concern, just as an example, as to growth opportunities or what would my future look like should I stay in this company, they actually were providing some examples of some future opportunities that could be available to me, which is something important because I don't really like staying stagnant, but I also just want to see that the company is thinking about how I can grow with them as well. To cut to the chase, and I'm sure this really doesn't come as a surprise, I did go ahead and take the full-time position instead of becoming a business broker. And no, this was not an easy decision because, as I mentioned, the business broker really sounded like something that was a perfect match for my skill set. But you might be asking, why exactly did I turn down the job as a business broker if that's what I was really interested in? Well, as I mentioned, I had a few life events that happened in a very short time frame, and I really was just looking for something stable in my life and the ability to have consistent income, again, with some benefits as well. After 2 years of making almost no money, trying to start as a real estate agent, start a business, and basically trying to learn a brand new industry and skill set, I really was intrigued by the idea of not having to go over another learning curve with long periods of time without pay and instead be receiving income on a consistent basis. If I were to take the job as a business broker, it could have been over a year before I received my first paycheck. Probably not that long, that might be an exaggeration, but again, it's just not something that I was really interested in doing yet again once I finally started making money. Also, I've realized at the end of the day, I really still want to be self-employed and I want to be able to work for myself. That's kind of how I started this whole journey. My first YouTube video was on me quitting my job when I worked for Vanguard. It's funny that I now have a second quitting my job video. But after these years of leaving Vanguard to present day, I've learned that, again, what I really want to do is work for myself, and I want to be able to own rental properties. Now, instead of taking the approach I did last time, which was just kind of quitting and just making that decision, not necessarily on a limb, but without really a full plan, this time I feel like I do have a plan moving forward and a goal for me to work towards, so I can now comfortably quit my job when that time comes. And through receiving a salary on a consistent basis, I'll now have a better chance of being able to save money to start using towards my own investment purchases. Personally, I am looking heavily into doing some short-term rentals like Airbnb properties because it sounds exciting to me, it sounds interesting, and again, I think it's a great way for me to start down that path to where I don't have to be a W-2 employee or even a 1099 employee for that matter, just be fully dependent, reliant, whatever the correct word is, on myself. And I'll say lastly, I have been very fortunate to have a lot of support throughout these past 2 years on this journey, and I just finally figured that it's time for me to start giving back to those who were always on my side, through thick or thin, throughout this entire time. Again, it hasn't necessarily been easy. I've certainly given it my best shot, and like I said, I had a lot of support throughout this, and I just don't want to be dependent on anybody else ever again. So it's time for me to start giving back, and that is ultimately why I quit my job, but I am still at that job. With all of that happening, I did realize throughout all of this that I also just really miss making these videos. While I've talked about, stocks and everything, I've just gotten so busy to where if I would start writing a video about stocks, by the time I was able to go upload it to YouTube, a lot of that information has changed, and it just kind of became a lot to balance. But I will say that I want to make a stronger effort moving forward to continue making these videos, as well as I am considering making cooking videos because that is something I do a lot of, and again, I enjoy making videos, so I might as well film something that I do basically on a daily basis anyway. So be on the lookout for more videos. Again, if you have maybe ideas, topics, discussions, anything that you have for me, or questions on quitting your job, please let me know in a comment section down below. That's really all I have to say for now, so kind of a different video. I'm going to try to maybe switch up my format a little bit on how I do these, and we'll just make it all work in progress. But thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me, and I really appreciate that. But I'll let you go ahead, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you soon.